Hello, this is Dave Hammer, a hobby blacksmith. Today I'd like to introduce you to my second design of a small utility air hammer. I call it the Thumper. The features of this Thumper are even lower air consumption, only a 20-pound ram, which is much smaller than the Cricket, a 110-pound anvil, which is probably about 150 pounds effective because of the base. It has a movable stroke position for using tooling, and the dies are 3.5 by 1.75 inches. Major differences from the Cricket are this hammer has an over-the-ram cylinder. I'm using lower cost pneumatic valves. It has an I-beam backbone, and there's a new design for the guidance system. This leaf will be our demo piece. All the forging is done on the air hammer. Just a slight touch-up for shaping the leaf is done on the anvil. I'm forging with 1/2-inch square stock mild steel. First we'll put a point on. You have to keep in mind this is a 20-pound ram, so it's not a big hammer. You'll be seeing pretty much all the forging, not totally, but pretty much. Draw that end out. I'm not just pointing, I'm drawing this out because I want to put a curl in the end. Next, we'll neck it down to make the stem, isolate the mass for the leaf and make the stem. This hammer is a cylinder that's 1.5 by 6, and as such it's going to have less punch than a hammer with a larger cylinder. And the reason that I used the smaller cylinder was to be able to use even smaller amount of air to drive it. Here I'm widening out on the flat dies. Now these flat dies are actually they're combination dies, but the flat side is not actually flat. it's crested just a little tiny bit. That lets me do this very easily. Crested with a generous camphor. Here I'm putting in these. This is tooling I made. It's short. And I said this hammer doesn't have a lot of punch. Actually it does for a hammer this size. I can run it down to as low as 70 psi and up to as much as 100 or more. And at the higher psi, then it's got more punch and will run faster. So it all depends on what your expectations are. And how you set it up. Let's go down the center. If this had a longer stroke, this thing would be set up with a single hit, and I would be making this mark down here with a single hit to start with, just to be sure that my tooling didn't slip. But although it has worked really well. We're almost done. I want to draw this out a little bit more in the end. Actually, it's kind of fun to use this little hammer. I didn't used to like small dies. I'm used to large dies. But in making these small hammers, I've grown to appreciate them. There we go. About 5 seconds on the anvil, and that's a good demo for this hammer. Thanks for watching.